Am I the asshole for banning my husband's female friend from our house? I, 27 female, have been married with my husband, male 32, for 3 years, and have been dating for a little over 5. My husband has this friend, female 31, Mary. They've known each other since they were in high school, and she's considered one of the boys, if you may. That basically means she's always invited to all the fishing trips and stuff, which I don't mind at all. I trust my husband. Well, my problems with Mary started when she first found out I'm half Romanian. It started kinda innocently with her asking me to say certain words, teach her some insults, etc., which didn't necessarily bother me. But it usually put me on the spot whenever we were out with my husband's group of friends. It only escalated to her Googling stuff about Romania and asking me, "Are you a vampire? Do you bite your husband on the neck? 2. Are you a gypsy? I bet you've got some of that gypsy blood in you." Which is just blatantly racist. Last week, me and my husband organized a mini barbecue with our friends, and Mary was invited by my husband despite me telling him she makes me uncomfortable. He said he had talked to her about her remarks, and she's been understanding, so it's unlikely that she'll say something this time. It was midnight, and there were about 4 of us left, and I accidentally spilled some red wine on Mary's jeans when I tripped over a carpet. All hell broke loose. Mary started saying that I'm a witch, and I'm trying to ruin her life, and this whole thing is part of my ritual, and I'm just an immigrant gypsy trying to ruin my husband's life, and I've poisoned my husband against her. I started crying and profusely apologizing. When she wouldn't drop it, I kicked her out and banned her from ever coming to my house again. Am I the asshole for doing this? My husband insists that Mary was just drunk and talking nonsense, and he would talk to her. He also told me that I'm way too sensitive about my heritage, and I'm an asshole for banning her. Mary has since given a half-hearted apology, but I'm still not okay with her. Now in the comments, not the asshole. She's being racist, and your husband should be standing up for you. Maybe down the line if her behavior improves and you forgive her, you could consider rescinding the ban. But unless that happens, you are doing a reasonable thing, and he should be in your corner on this one. And OP replies, honestly, I don't know if I'm ever going to be okay with her. What I didn't mention in the post is that these remarks have been going on for years. For example, Mary watched that movie 365 Days around March, and apparently 2 friends called each other kurwa, and started calling me that. In Polish, that could be considered a joking way to address a close friend. However, in Romanian, it's considered a derogatory. It means prostitute, but like worse, term, and pretty much no one would use the word when referring to a friend. When told to stop, Mary said that I'm too sensitive. I am just tired of being insulted. It means the same thing in Polish. It's not a friendly thing for like 99.999% of people. Mary is terrible, and I'm sorry your husband has misplaced loyalties. And OP says, I'm sorry, I was just assuming that there could be a different connotation to the word in Polish, as from what I've gathered, the 2 girls refer to each other as such in that particular movie. I apologize if I offended any Polish speaker. Never tolerate such aggression. Never ever. React immediately and react hard at any cost. If you compromise on this, you are lost. You'll become a slave. I hope you understand what I mean. It is zero tolerance and immediate hard reaction, or it is you losing self-esteem, social status, and everything. From my vast experience, the best reaction is to attack the aggressor with his own weapons, questioning his identity and heritage, re-establishing symmetry. As for your marriage, I'm afraid your husband will have to choose between you and Mary. Make no compromise. And OP says, going all Vlad Tepes, I see. I tolerated it because I thought she was just uneducated. It became increasingly hurtful when I explicitly told her this is not okay, and she continued. I'm not going to retaliate and attack her because I'd just be getting down to her level, and I'm better than that, but I will definitely cut her out of my life completely. Not the asshole, but you need to sit your husband down and firmly tell him that he's being a real jerk and a lousy husband. Honestly, you don't have a husband's female friend problem because you can't control what third parties do, but you do have a serious husband problem. As your husband, it is his job to defend and protect you and your feelings and put you first, and he is seriously failing. Did they ever date, such that she is jealous of you, or is he just naturally weak? Your husband is the asshole here. And OP replies, as far as I'm aware, they never dated. My husband told me a few years back that when they were in college, Mary allegedly confessed to one of the other boys in the group that she really wants a piece of my husband. But that was all of it. I think it was just a joke. Has Mary had any boyfriends in the time that you've known her? She seems very possessive of your husband. OP says, I've known Mary for around 4 years and a half, and she's had one relationship of about 2 years that was long distance, and it ended because they were always apart and not very willing to go see each other. Her words. But she focuses on her career now. OP, my ex used to have a friend like this, and they used to say, oh, we're like brother and sister, you didn't get the joke, etc. I think she wants you to cry and create a scene and be controlling of your husband, so that when he complains about you, she can rush in and comfort him. So I suggest you stay calm, not react, and ignore her altogether while you enjoy with your husband and his other friends. Now she will have to go out of her way to be mean to you, and she would get exposed. Not the asshole. Mary sounds like a racist. Maybe she's jealous there's another woman in the group now? Her remark about how you were turning your husband against her makes me think she feels threatened by you. Your husband should be sticking up for you, they both owe you an apology. And OP replies, I don't know how she'd feel threatened. The boys, plus Mary, still go and do stuff as a group without involving me or my husband's friends' girlfriends and wives. This arrangement never changed because of me or anyone else. I think it might be more along the line of, I want to be the only woman in their life. And now back up to the post, we have an edit. I guess this is the update some of you wanted. Sorry, I'm still a mess and I don't know how coherent I am. We've talked, he admitted to being in and out of an affair with Mary in the first 2 years of our relationship, and she wanted to win him back, I guess. I called my mum to come help me pack some stuff, and I'm out. That's it. Mary can have him, I've been gaslit for years, and it took a Reddit post to realize. Oh, the irony. Thank you, Reddit. Edit 2, and probably the last one for a period of time. A lot of people seemed suspicious of Mary and my husband's friendship/relationship, etc., and have asked if I ever suspected anything. No, I didn't. Me and my husband had, or I thought we had, a very strong relationship, based on communication and honesty. I guess it only applied to me. Also, Mary is very close with all the boys in the said friendship group. The other wives raised concerns in the past, but they've all been shut down by the boys in the group or by Mary herself. I guess I always respected their friendship group because they were very close for so long, and it felt unfair to change that because of me. As far as I'm aware, the other wives feel the same, plus Mary has been in a long-distance relationship for about 2 years, and always claimed that she's focusing on her career, she's too busy, etc., so none of us ever saw her as a potential threat. But now it just makes me think there could be more to this story. But I am tired. As of right now, I am just exhausted. My Romanian witch blood won't let me live until I find out the whole truth. But I need time. And now onto the update. Hey Reddit, it's me, the Witch. I thought I would update you because some interesting stuff happened since my post. Me and my husband, we have talked a lot, but the subject of Mary always seems to be a danger zone. He told me he isn't prepared to truly talk to me about Mary. We have tried to mend the relationship, but after a few therapy sessions, I realized I carry way too much resentment towards my ex for any kind of relationship to work. Since my ex was shutting me out, I decided to speak to Mary, as I found out through the grapevine that she wanted to tell her part of the story. Mary admitted that she went through some situationships, by her description, with my ex and a couple of his other friends. The issue runs deeper though. When confronted as to why exactly she wanted me out so badly, Mary confessed that she actually got pregnant in high school, but she either doesn't know who the father is or didn't want to say it outright. I can't know for sure, but it is supposedly one of the guys in my ex's group of friends. I guess the most likely option is that the father is my ex and she didn't deny it. The child in question was put up for adoption and apparently found Mary as his or her biological mother a few months prior to the wine incident, which caused her to mourn the family she had to give up on in high school and sent her on a downward spiral of depression and anxiety, and made me the sole recipient of her hate, because I was the only obstacle in her way of her happy ending. By my ex's account, he had no idea Mary was pregnant in high school because she told everyone she is doing some studying abroad for a few months, and no one saw her or knew what was happening. On to the witch part of the issue. Mary said she went through a phase where she was hanging out with self-proclaimed witches during high school to recover from the pain caused by having to give up her child, the PPD, etc. The witches gave her all sorts of ointments and all kinds of readings about the child/the child's future, etc. Turns out, the witches were a fraud, which sort of gave her the firepower to hate me even more and possibly fueled her fantasy. I'm not sure how much of it is true, but here we are. In light of everything I discovered, I have to admit I do feel sorry for Mary. After seeing her perspective and talking with her, I can understand where she's coming from. But ultimately, I am not her friend and the situation is none of my business, at least not after it's been hidden from me all this time. Plus, her being dealt a bad hand does not mean that she has to take everyone down with her. I haven't been in contact with Mary and my ex since the divorce finalized in February 2021. I also did not keep in contact with my ex's friends' wives longer term. I appreciate the support, but it seems like my situation triggered quite a few arguments and relationship problems, and everyone sort of agreed to keep to themselves. Thank you again, everyone. Much love. Now in the comments, what a steaming pile of hot garbage. I'm impressed with how gracious you could be to Mary, who didn't deserve it. I'm also impressed that you put so much effort into your marriage before realizing that it was truly over. You handled this with style and grace, and I wish you the very best. And OP replies, you are way too kind. I wish you happiness. Mary sounds delusional, first with the witch accusation, and then with the claim that she hung out with witches during high school. Seriously, this lady is showing real signs of psychosis and a complete lack of awareness of it that also implies it is going untreated. Not your problem, but you should probably be prepared for surprises with this one. She was a stupid teenager, but every man involved grew up and married and still kept hanging with her. Honestly, I feel like their wives should also divorce them. Damn, this went deep. So she was messing around off and on with more than one of the guys in the group? What is strange to me is that why would your husband even push to have Mary around, knowing that he had a sexual relationship with her at one point? It's almost like he wanted to get caught? Hope you're doing okay with yourself. And OP says, I've realized in time that this particular group of friends has issues. It's a complicated dynamic, but I can reassure you all that everyone affected by it is doing okay now. You can say emotionally immature codependence. We won't tell anyone. It sounds like they might have trauma bonded over their battle with a sewer-dwelling clown and/or giant spider monster. By situationships, does Mary mean multiple guys from that friend group have cheated on their wives with Mary? That's the way I took it to mean. Or they happened when they were all younger and just the one continued. So, with OP out of the picture, where is the perfect happy family that she was stopping Mary from getting? I hope a lot of marriages broke up over this, so the women could find honest partners. Congratulations, gentlemen. This is collectively the biggest waste of relationships I have ever seen. If you don't want to commit, don't get married. Enjoy your freedom, OP. And OP replies, I wouldn't be able to tell you. Last I heard, Mary moved to a different city and my husband's friends were all undergoing counseling. Our next post is titled, Strain in Our Relationship Due to Naming Our Baby Girl. So I'm pregnant with a baby girl, 25 weeks, and both me and my partner are very excited. We planned for her too. Here's the problem though, when we found out we were having a girl, my partner, 29 male, let's call him Mike, has been set on a certain name. This is the name of the girl that he was infatuated with through most of high school and a bit of college, 16 to 19 years oldish, and though they stayed friends, she didn't reciprocate his feelings. Let's call her Susan, all names are changed. Now, Mike says he likes the name Susan due to it being nice, not due to the connection with the high school crush, and that even if he did, he respects her a lot. Which could be true, but I don't really like the name anyway, and the whole thing makes me kind of uncomfortable. The name is also quite rare, and neither of us know anyone else, bar her, with that name. Should also add we met in college and have been going out since he was 20. Anyway, I suggested using the name as a middle name and use a first name that we both like as a first name, but he shot me down. He then suggested that I name the next child, which I don't really like the idea of because A, there may not be any more children, and B, if there are, I don't want to have favorites before they are even born. I want everyone to be on a level playing field. This is our daughter, and I'm willing to be flexible about all aspects of her life, depending on what she wants when she's older. But her name is something that me and my partner should choose together. I want to love it, or at least like it, since I'll be using it from the day she's born till the day I die, or if she chooses to change it. I have told him that it makes me uncomfortable, but he says those feelings are unfounded. Am I being unreasonable to want to discuss other names? Should I let it slide and see if the name grows on me? And now in the comments, I wouldn't even compromise with it as a middle name. That is really weird and embarrassing. There are literally countless name choices. Make him choose something else. And OP replies, I talked to him and he said that I know the name will be affiliated with her and that's okay. I used to have feelings for her, but now she is just a friend I respect, and it's like you naming the child after a close friend. But from my point of view, I feel like I would be embarrassed when others put two and two together. Personally, I would feel uncomfortable naming my kid after a close friend of either gender, even without any form of infatuation. I also think I would be uncomfortable with a friend naming their kid after me, and my name is pretty common. Would she actually be comfortable with your partner naming your daughter after her? Especially because it seems common knowledge that he had a crush on her and she never felt like that towards him. Most importantly, of course, is that you don't like the name. And OP replies, yeah, completely valid. But I forgot to add in the post that she is actually named because of the exact same reason. Seems really strange to me. And she's happy about that? Her mom never took issue with that? Weird, but whatever. It all comes down to the fact that you don't like the name. It doesn't matter what the name is, you don't like it. Try stopping the focus on it being her name and just focus on it being a name that you don't like. It's important for you to both like the name. He isn't even a little bit considering your feelings. OP replies, she used to say that that fact made her super uncomfortable and that she didn't like that she was named after a crush. Or anyone for that fact. She said she wanted her name to be a clear slate without set expectations from the get-go. I understand that, and I don't want my child to be uncomfortable at her own name. Might she talk to your partner about it then? If you tell her that you are worried about your daughter growing up with the same discomforts that she did. OP replies, the weird thing is, it was him who originally told me the fact that she was uncomfortable about the way she was named about 4 years ago. So he is aware of how it affects the child, which makes me think even more that it's a ploy to get her attention. Each parent gets to veto a child's name. We divided up the kids, so hubby mostly named the boy and I mostly named the girl, but we each still shot down lots of names. I actually said no to one name because it sounded like a superhero. You don't have to justify your no, it's just a flat no. It doesn't matter if your feelings are unfounded, you are the mum and you say no. The bigger problem to me is your husband is not listening to his partner. You may want to address that before you are both sleep deprived. And OP replies, yeah, that seems like a great plan. I am completely down to go through loads of names and for many of my favorites to be shot down. My problem is that I have voiced my concerns and he just said, they are unfounded, you haven't given me a reason to actually not use the name. I don't know how I can articulate it in a way that gets through to him. Something like, I do not want our daughter named Susan, is a perfectly valid reason. Your husband is delusional. And now onto the update. Thank you for all the comments and points. Some were a bit extreme, I feel, but almost all of them had valid points. This may be a wall of text, but hey. So to the update. Sorry it took me a few days. Anyway, my partner's mother took me out shopping after I made the post, to get lots of new clothes and such, since we told her the gender of our baby last week. I tried to put on a brave face, but I was clearly emotional, so she asked what was up. I avoided it at first, but ended up caving in and telling her everything. We are quite close, so I felt like I could trust her. When I finished, I expected her to freak out, but she rolled her eyes and said, "Really? He's really going through with that stupid joke." I was clearly confused and she said, Mike and his friends had an ongoing joke that the first one to have a baby would name it after someone from the friendship group, and since Susan is the only girl they've known since then, I guess that's the name they've picked for a girl. Jesus, he is so immature. At this point, I just looked at her blankly. I had all the thoughts running through my head. I couldn't really believe it was just him being immature. So I went home and waited for my partner to get back so I could talk to him. He came back several hours later, and it turns out his mum called him and he went over there to talk, and then he went to a friend's house to talk too. He didn't look me in the eyes when he came in. He had clearly been crying. I was kind of emotioned out by this point, so I just waited for him to talk. He kinda looked like a puppy that had been kicked, but talked eventually. Basically, the gist was that it was an inside joke with all of them that they had made many years ago, and I guess in the heat of becoming a father, he somehow became a teenager again. He cried and said he never meant to give me the impression that he still liked Susan like that, and he was so adamant to use it due to some stupid joke, and when he talked to his mum and friends, they confirmed that he was being super stupid. He said I could look at any of the conversations him and Susan had and ask anything if he wanted, but he swears point blank that he is just super stupid and had an immature moment or moments. He then gave me a list of 50 names and circled some he liked in particular. He then smiled and said, Scarlett would be a nice name that I like, but would be silly if she came out with your hair, as I'm a redhead. Which I laughed at, and some of the tension went away. We spent the next few hours discussing names, and we agreed on a top 5 that we'll pick one of when she's a few weeks old, and when one feels right, and we'll use a place name until that point. The immaturity is still an issue for me. I'll give him the benefit of the doubt for now that nothing was going on, and he didn't want something to go on. But we are going to continue counseling up until the end of the pregnancy, or a bit beyond if we need to. Thank you again for all of your comments. At the moment, I want to move on and learn from this and look forward to inviting our baby into the household. We also talked about marriage and agree that she'll make a good flower girl in a few years when we feel that we are a nice stable emotionally. TLDR, he's an idiot, but one I'm willing to stay with and marry and live with our baby girl who has a great list of potential names. And now in the comments, I'm glad this turned out to be her partner being immature and insensitive and just kind of an ass. In infidelity forums, it's not uncommon to find that people name their children or pets after their long-term affair partners so that when they're caught talking and texting about them or the name slips out, then it doesn't arouse suspicion. His mum put him in his place. His mum validated the new mama and took care of business the best she could. My ex-mother-in-law was not like that towards me. Okay, there's moronic, there's stupid, there is idiotic, and then there is what this guy did. What the hell, man? I don't understand how it was an inside joke. Like, what was funny about it? If it was a pact that he felt he had to go through with, that makes sense, but like, how was this a joke? More like he was serious about the name, talked about it all the time, and it was a joke to his friends and family because of how pathetic it was. Is he the loser friend of the group and was using this as a way to win against his friends? I don't mean he was an actual loser, but in every friend group, there is that one that feels they don't measure up or don't accomplish things comparatively and doubt themselves and their worth. I am glad that it turned out to be something stupid and not that he viewed that girl as the one that got away. Immaturity can be changed. People grow up and become better versions of themselves. Counseling hopefully helped them both. Alrighty guys, and that's where I'm going to leave you on today's episode. I really do hope you enjoyed, and if you did, let me know what you thought of it down below, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.